So, welcome again to the Maglite podcast, or for the first time, if you've never been here before. This is a very important book. Whether you live in hurricane area or not, Hurricane Preparedness for the Home and Family. You see that name right there? Haskell Moore, the author? Yeah. Well, that's this guy joining us here on the Maglite podcast. We're all about preparedness, being ready just in case the worst happens. And boy, Haskell literally wrote the book on preparedness. How many years have you been working on this in this field, Haskell?
Oh, I started on disaster preparedness back in 1999 and started focusing on hurricane preparedness in 2005.
Gotcha. Of course, you live in Texas where you get monsoon type rain as well, which, by the way, is happening right now in a
Right.
couple areas of Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. Dallas is getting hit. The Dallas area was hit rather hard. I haven't checked on the weather today, but they picked up in excess of 10 or 12 inches in like 24 hours in some areas. And in South Texas, yesterday, they got hammered really bad. They picked up, I think, 5 or 6 inches in several areas as well.
What makes fast running water so dangerous?
Well, people underestimate the power of fast running water. It's incredible. Just a few inches of water can sweep you off your feet. Maybe not even as much as a foot can sweep a vehicle off into a stream, a lake, a river, a deep ditch. I've seen that happen with my own eyes. And people think because they're driving one of these big pickup trucks with giant tires on it, what they don't realize is those things are just flotation devices to the water. So people underestimating the water, how powerful it is, and how quickly they can get in trouble.
Yeah, and there are things like down power lines in the water. You can be electrocuted. There's yucky stuff in the water because the sewer system is being washed out. There's chemicals in the water because it's runoff from fields or a plant that has been overrun with water. So there's all kinds of bad things that can happen
Yeah.
when you've got too much water, right?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, 89% of the direct cause deaths from hurricane are due to water, either flooding or in some cases, blunt force trauma from people being slammed around into trees and things like that. So the vast majority of direct cause death from a hurricane, water, storm surge being the biggest of those.
And of course, excuse me, um, when the water gets high, the power goes out.
That's the usual case. They actually in the at the power stations, at the substations, actually, they have sensors there, and when they reach a certain level of what they call leakage, when they're bleeding off a certain degree of power, then the power shuts down. Hopefully, it does. Otherwise, you have what we had during Harvey, where we had several electrocutions. But yeah, when the water comes up, you better hope the power goes off.
And then when the power goes off, you have what's called nighttime.
Right.
That happens every day, no
Yep.
matter what. It does
Yep.
get dark at some point, and then you need a source of light.
Absolutely.
You have plenty on your desk there, by the way.
Right. These are actually just a small sampling of the over 200 flashlights that I've tested in the last couple of years. Everything from cheap dollar store lights all the way up to I had one light that I recently sold. I paid $450 for it. So I've tested the whole gamut. And I didn't go out and just get cheap dollar store flashlights. I tested everything from some of the very top makers. And I ended up selecting this one. I'll let you tell the audience what this is if you want to.
Is that the Maglite ML300L 4D?
None other.
Yeah, so that is the ultimate disaster preparedness flashlight. On eco mode, it'll last 2 weeks, continuous use. 2 weeks, continuous use on eco mode. So if you have a long-term disaster, this is the kind of light that you're going to need. It throws more than 1,000 lumens at full power. Popular Mechanics said it is the last flashlight you'll ever need to buy. And by the way, it can put a useful piece of light, beam of light, on something a quarter of a mile away. So for signaling, if you want to put it on flash mode, on strobe, it's going to have enough power. You're going to get noticed. And by the way, it'll last a really long time because you don't need more than 60 lumens or so in an enclosed space, right, Haskell?
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I did a test recently, and I had a light that only put out 3 lumens of light, and it was sufficient for moving around the house, seeing where you're going. And that's extremely important during a power outage. People don't realize it, but you can get hurt really badly in your own home during a power outage situation. I had a friend tell me about his wife who tripped over a dog toy after the power outage of Hurricane Ike and ended up falling, breaking her wrist and her arm. And
Yeah.
that's a bad thing on a good day, much less when you can't get to a hospital.
And when you live rural like me, there is no source of ambient light. So if
Right.
it's a cloudy night or there's very little moon or no moon or it's behind the trees or whatever it is, it's so damn dark you can't see a foot in front of your face, honestly.
Right.
And there you can also put that attachment on there and make it good for signaling as well.
Absolutely.
Like how that looks. All right, Haskell Moore, we try to keep these to 5 or 6 minutes because
Okay.
I have a really short attention span. So, Lou Desmond here, Maglite PR Director. This has been the Maglite Podcast. We're going to bring Haskell back for one more right after this. We're going to talk about storm season this year and why it's been so light and what to expect.